Hi, it's me, Brooklyn, and today I'm going to be talking to you about weird things that happen to me because I look younger. Now, in the comments below, I want you to guess how old I am. Okay, ready? Go. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Y'all, I am 23 years old. I am a grown woman. I know most people don't think so. Typically I've been, well, I get everything from the age 14 to my actual age of 23, but the average guess is about 16. I have a baby face. Okay, so one of the things I deal with is the fact that, since I do look younger, people don't think my ID is real. Literally. So about a year ago, I went to a bar with some guy friends just to hang out. I wasn't even gonna drink because I don't like to drink, thank God. And I go into the bar with them and immediately the bartender was like, "You, ID now." Didn't card the boys, just me. So I hand her my ID and then she it's like, "You know what? I'm gonna grab this." So she grabs my ID and then she's looking at it and she's like, looking back at me "Yeah, no, this isn't real." And I'm like, "Yes, it is. I was 22 at the time." I'm like, I am a grown adult, okay? Ugh, it was so annoying. She argued with me. She was like, "No, it's not real. I'm gonna call the police on you." I'm like, "No, I'm not even gonna drink, just chill." And eventually I got her to calm down and she didn't call the police. Although honestly, I kind of wish she would have now, because literally when the police would have showed up, they would have been like, "Oh, sweetie pea, her ID is real. You're a dummy." I mean, I guess I could have showed her my substitute teaching license. I mean, I'm old enough to be, to teach kids, but not, I don't know, it's so weird. So good thing I don't like to drink, because, please, they don't even think it's real to begin with. Lovely. Also, another funny thing that happens is with my work. I am a substitute teacher. And, well, they always confuse me with a student. Every single time. It happens when I'm at the middle school and when I'm at a high school. And, yeah. Teachers will always come in and they'll be like, "Oh, you guys don't have any supervision." And I'm like, "I'm right here. Did you miss me?" And it doesn't matter how often I sub at a certain school because they just never remember that I'm not a kid. So yes, that happens. Also, let's talk about the awkward part. Dating. Oh, goody. So I typically, since I look more like a teenager, I get hit on by a lot of teenagers. So I remember a few summers ago, I was working for a summer camp. And there was this really cool guy I got along with super well. He was super tall. Oh my God. Almost 7 feet tall. It was ridiculous. And his voice was so low. I could barely hear him. So I had to get on my tiptoes to hear him. And he had to talk really loud. And it was so awkward. And people were like, "Wow, you two would be so cute together." And I thought he was my age. And when we were all sitting around talking, I was like, "So, are you looking forward to when work is done for the summer?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm so excited to finish my senior year of high school." And I'm like, oh my God, he's a kid? And he's like, "What about you?" And I'm like, "I'm gonna be going back to substitute teaching for the year." He's like, "Wait, you're not 17? And I'm like, "No." At the time I was 22. I'm like, "No, I'm 22. And it was just so awkward because he was like, "Oh my God." And I was like, this is awkward. Good thing I never asked him out because, oh my God, that would have been so bad. He looked so much older. But then again, I guess I'm not a good judge of age. But another thing that happens is, in addition to teenagers hitting on me, this is really bad, but men who are old enough to be my father will hit on me because they think I'm 15. So yeah, it's pretty obvious to tell what they are. I've met a lot of those. I have had to block a lot of them, and a few of them have followed me outside of buildings. So that's fun. I know the local police officer, so it's a fun time. Also, when I was dating a guy back in college, I dated a guy who was literally like a year younger than me. And I remember we were out in public, and this lady and her husband were talking. They're like, oh my God, what is he doing with that little girl? Referring to me, okay? And, oh God. And her husband's like, oh, I don't know. And the wife was like, should we call somebody? I mean, that's really wrong. Like, she's really young. And he's like, well, I don't know. I bet he's her uncle. And I'm like, no, that's... And I just was so awkward. But they didn't, like, say anything after that. I just kind of was overhearing them. And I was like, really? Seriously? So yeah, they thought my boyfriend was my uncle. Literally, and I'm not made for dating apps, let me tell you, because they either think I am some 16-year-old lying about my age to be on the app, or they think I'm not real. I've been accused of being a catfish so many times, it's ridiculous. I'm like, really? You think I'm a catfish? I'm sorry, this baby face is here, man. Literally, part of this is genetics, and then part of it is I take care of myself. Because my mom is 48, I believe, and people still think she's 27. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I will say, it keeps life very interesting. But guys my age who are in their 20s typically will not approach me. Or they will, and then their first question is, how old are you? Because they can't quite tell. Because, yeah, that's just a lot of fun. Also, in terms of theater, I end up playing a lot of kid roles because I look like a kid, which is great, but a lot of the kid roles don't really get to sing, and I love singing more than anything. Literally, I cannot shut up. But yeah. But in general, I like looking younger than my age. I know it's going to be really good for filming once I move to a place where there is filming. But right now, it's the awkward point. Because, like, people don't take me seriously because I look like a kid. I've been turned away from so many, like, job interviews because they just wouldn't take me seriously. Because they just assume that I'm a kid and I don't know anything. Which I really don't like. And when it comes to dating, I don't really go on a lot of dates. I go on like a few, but some guys are like really creepy about it. They like that I look younger, but they're not normal about it. Like, they're creepy about it. And then, like, if I do date a guy, they're accused of robbing the cradle or being really bad. You know what I mean? And it's really hard, you know? But I have one more funny story, don't worry. It's not all just like, oh, poor me, boo-hoo-hoo, whatever. So I went to a family restaurant with some people that I am in a band with. It was the older members, which is the mom and the dad of the group. So it literally looked like they were taking their daughter out to a nice dinner. Because, yeah, that's just how it looks. So we couldn't find a seat anywhere because we came to listen to a live band. And when we got there, we just, couldn't find a seat. And this dude was like, oh, you can come sit with us. And I was like, oh, okay. Right after he looked at me is when he said this. And I was like, oh, goody. Here we go again. So we go over and we sit next to him. And the band members are talking. They're like, yeah, we're in a band. We came to see like a live band because she hasn't seen one. And we want her to be prepared, which is awesome. And then he's like, oh, are you guys like a family band? And I was like, oh, he's already trying to figure out how old I am. And we all introduced ourselves to him. We talked here and there. And to be real, he was being a bit flirty with me. If I would make a joke about something, he would say, oh, Brooklyn. And to me, anytime I've heard a guy, when I first meet him, and he says something like, oh, Brooklyn, or he says like a joke or something and always makes it a point to say my name, I'm like, oh, I know what's going on here. And he was like trying to figure out how old I was. I eventually told him because I was like, whatever, who cares? I'm an adult. I was like, oh, I'm 23. And he's like, how old do you think I am? And I'm like, 40. He's like, oh my gosh, now I feel so old. I'm 31. I'm like, oh, I'm not a good judge of age because, you know, I look like this. Anyway, so he left after, of course, I was not at all interested. For a couple of reasons, which I'm not going to get into. But when we got ready to leave, like the whole band, we found out that he paid for our food, our drinks, everything. Because he thought I was cute. But honestly, he creeped me out a little bit. I don't know. I really want to date a guy that's closer to my age, and I don't know, something about him would just seem super sketchy. But yeah, in general, it just, looking younger makes my life very interesting and very awkward. Yeah. So, please subscribe. A lot of you watch my videos and you're not subscribed. Like literally 97%. And I'm not going anywhere. Please. I live in the middle of nowhere surrounded by corn! What else am I gonna do? I post story times, vlogs, skits, and I randomly sing in all of my videos. Yeah. Also, I'm on Instagram and TikTok, and the link's below. Bye.